Most wooden structures in the modern world begin to fail within a few decades. Decks rot, fence posts soften, beams warp, and historic restorers spend millions trying to slow decay that, well, seems inevitable. Yet, across Scandinavia, archaeologists continue to uncover Viking-age wood that remains dense, resilient, and structurally sound after 1,000 years underground or underwater. Ships pulled from fjords still hold their shape. Church staves still carry weight. Harbour pilings still resist collapse. This survival was not luck, nor was it climate alone. The Vikings understood something fundamental about wood that modern treatment methods often ignore. What they did was deliberate, repeatable, and grounded in deep observation of how nature itself preserves organic material. Once you understand this method, you begin to see why many modern preservatives fail where ancient practices succeed. Well, untreated wood fails quickly in most environments because, it's just not protected from the elements or from biological threats. Wood decays when moisture, oxygen and microorganisms work together. It's really a sort of perfect storm, if you like, and that's why ancient builders had to get a bit clever to keep their structures standing. These days, modern lumber is cut green, rushed through drying kilns, and then sealed with surface coatings that, quite frankly, trap moisture inside. This, in turn, can lead to all sorts of problems down the line. Vikings approached the problem differently. They did not try to seal wood immediately. Instead, they focused on changing the internal chemistry of the timber before it was ever used in construction. Preservation began long before a ship was built or a beam was raised. How slow selection and timing determined the lifespan of Viking wood. Vikings harvested trees during winter, when sap levels were lowest and insect activity minimal. This reduced internal sugars that attract decay organisms. Trees were often left intact for extended periods before shaping, allowing natural dehydration without cracking. In some regions, logs were partially submerged in cold water or bogs, which leached out remaining nutrients while preventing oxygen exposure. This step alone dramatically slowed future decay. So, a modern application of this principle would, involve harvesting timber during the dormant seasons, and then allowing it to air season slowly in shaded, ventilated conditions, rather than forcing it through rapid kiln drying. Charring wood was actually a preservation technique, not just a cosmetic choice. One of the most powerful Viking methods was, in fact, surface charring. By exposing wood to controlled fire, they carbonized the outer layer, creating a barrier that resists moisture, insects, and yes, even fungal growth. This char layer is chemically stable and hydrophobic, meaning it repels water rather than absorbing it. Japanese builders independently developed a similar method centuries later, known today as shu-sugi-ban. To apply this today, one can lightly burn the surface of exterior beams or posts until they blacken, then brush away loose carbon and seal with natural oils. This method works especially well for ground contact wood, where rot usually begins. You know, natural oils and tars would actually penetrate the wood rather than simply sealing it. This allowed the material to, well, interact more closely with its environment. Instead of using modern paints or varnishes, the Vikings relied on things like pine tar, linseed oil, and animal fats to protect their wood. Pine tar, which is slowly distilled from resin-rich wood, seeps deeply into the fibers and, interestingly, stays flexible over time. It also inhibits microbial growth, all while letting the wood breathe naturally. Ships were repeatedly coated, not once, but season after season, building up protection gradually. For modern use, raw linseed oil mixed with pine tar can be brushed into dry wood in warm conditions, allowing deep absorption. This is particularly effective for tool handles, outdoor furniture, sheds, and wooden boats. Why soil contact was engineered instead of avoided. Vikings understood that the point where wood meets earth is where failure begins. Instead of placing posts directly into wet soil, they often rested them on stone footings or gravel beds that drained water away. In some cases, posts were charred and tarred before being set. Instead of placing posts directly into wet soil, they often rested them on stone footings or gravel beds that drained water away. In some cases, posts were charred and tarred before being set. Archaeological evidence shows fence posts surviving centuries longer than untreated modern equivalents. A practical modern step would be to elevate wooden posts slightly above ground level using stone or compacted gravel, and to treat the base with char and oil before installation. How oxygen control preserved wood underwater and underground. Some of the best preserved Viking wood has been found in bogs and seabeds, environments with very low oxygen. Vikings took advantage of this by storing wood underwater for extended periods before use. While not always practical today, this principle explains why waterlogged wood can survive for centuries if undisturbed. For modern builders, the lesson is to avoid alternating wet-dry conditions which accelerate decay. Consistency matters more than absolute dryness. Consistency matters more than absolute dryness. That's really why maintenance was continuous rather than reactive. Viking preservation was not a one-time treatment. Ships were hauled out annually, inspected and retreated. Homes were repaired before failure occurred. This mindset extended the lifespan of structures far beyond what modern neglect allows. Applying this today means re-oiling, re-tarring and inspecting wood regularly rather than waiting for visible damage. What this knowledge means for modern survivalists and builders. These methods require patience, not chemicals. They rely on understanding wood as a living material with grain, moisture cycles and vulnerabilities. By combining seasonal harvesting, slow drying, surface charring, natural oils, proper drainage and regular maintenance, it is entirely possible to build wooden structures that last generations rather than decades. This is not experimental. The evidence still stands across Scandinavia. The Vikings did not defeat decay with technology. They worked with physics, chemistry, and time. That is why their wood endured. If you value deep historical knowledge that still works in the modern world, subscribe to Ancient Know-How, share this episode with fellow historians and builders, and help keep these proven techniques alive for the generations that come after us.